Hello, BookTube. I thought I'd highlight a couple books that I got in my book haul today. I've been looking actually closer at them. I should be actually reading some other stuff, but I just been captured by these, and even Mark Richardson at Richardson Reads would probably like to see these a little more closely as well. They are fantastic. I just the more I look at them, the more I'm intrigued by them. So I think I'm gonna bump this up onto my to be read list probably pretty soon. But they are the English books. It's called English Books, 1475 to 1900, a signpost for collectors, by Charles J. Sawyer and F. J. Harvey Darton, with 100 illustrations. And this is Volume 1, Caxton to Johnson. They're just sort of plain brown wrappers, dust jackets from 1927. There is a dust jacket protector on it, which is very shiny. There, it looks a little better. And as you can see on the spines, it'll say 1927. And I believe it says that on the bottom of the spine on the book itself. Also, red buckram and 1927 at the bottom. It looks like it is mainly for book collectors of the time. And in 1927, I have no doubt that you could easily find, incunabula first, early printed books, all the way up. You could even find medieval manuscripts at that time, illuminated manuscripts. But here's a frontispiece, which is kind of cool. There's a Caxton printing, and it is a page of the Dictus, or Sayings of the Philosophers, printed by William Caxton, 1477, reproduced by permission from a copy in the British Museum. And here's the title page. Usual for time having red title and using red ink for some of it. It just I'll go through the table of contents of first one. Oh, let me just see here. It says 2,000 sets of this book have been printed at the Riverside Press, Edinburgh, for Messrs. Charles and Sawyer Limited and Messrs. E.P. Dutton and Company. The whole edition is uniform in typology and binding. I don't see. It's not. I'm assuming it's limited then. It's a limited edition. How many copies does it say? 2,000. It doesn't. They're not numbered unless it's in the back of Volume 2. I don't remember seeing. No. But yeah, a limited edition of 2,000, which is actually quite a few, but it's still quite nice. Let's get back to table of contents now. But dedicated with respectful homage to all collectors of English books, and that's the dedication page. It's got a preface, just talking about collecting and using current auction records for the prices that it shows, and the chapters are why, what, and then the early English printers, the Renaissance, and then quotes. This is still chapter 5, a piece of the world discovered. There's chapter on William Shakespeare and After the Great Queen, the People's Books, and chapter 9, True Wit is Nature to Advantage Dressed. And then volume 10, or chapter 10, is The Great Cham. Now, here's an example of a page from the game and play of cheese, which is chess, I think it is, but it's spelled cheese, printed by William Caxton at Westminster about 1483, and so it's got a woodcut, and then the text below. Oh, my finger is probably over part of it. And he's got here, now I don't know if it's this specific book, Golden Legend of James de Varenne, possibly of a second edition, which today is scarcer than the first, at St. Margaret's, Westminster. Church authorities sold only 3 copies in about 6 years, and 5 more in the next 2 years. In 1496, a copy was disposed of for 6 shillings and 8 pence. Another in 1500 for 5 shillings. Again, a certain Dr. R. Johnson in 1510 bought 5 Caxtons for 7 shillings, 8 pence. In all, they are now in the Cambridge University Library, so that comparison of their value today with that average about 1 shilling 8 pence is impossible. So late as 1678, 3 volumes were sold for 7 shillings and 10 pence. It was not until Fairfax sale in 1756 the value advanced. It went to £33 and 4 shillings. 14 years later, the price was a little over 10 guineas a volume. A guinea is £1 plus 1 shilling, so 21 shillings. Just a fancy way changing it. There at one time there was a gold guinea coin. Let's see here. It was at the Roxburgh sale of 1812 that men's eyes were opened. The average leaped to over £200, and 14 copies were bought for £3,002 and 1 shilling. By 1897, appreciation had gone further. In the first part of the Ashburnham sale, 10 volumes sold for £5,622. In the second part, 6 for $4,264. So that's just, I just find that fascinating in giving the prices. And these are, as I say, this is 1897 for £5,000, £4,000. But 1812, they're selling 14 copy or £200 a copy. It's just insane. So books have always had a value, and they've continued to grow in value to a certain extent. It just it goes to it just continues like that all the way through. Early English printers, just showing again. This is a volume contains first mention in print yet discovered of the name of William Shakespeare. It's Willoughby, his Asia, the true picture of model marred and a I can't read it. It's a bit blurred. It's too dark here. Sorry, but maybe if you focus in on that, you might be able to see it yourself. It doesn't give a date on that, but this is the beginning of the Renaissance chapter, and again, it just goes for prices, what prices were at various times. The Palace of Pleasure. Beautified, adorned, and well formed with pleasant histories and excellent novels selected out of jurors of good and commentable authors by William Painter Clark of the Ordnance and Army. 1566, imprinted at London by Philip Denham for Richard Tottle and William Jones. Sorry, I'm butchering the pronunciation of items, and it's in old, the script is very difficult to read. It's like a Gothic script at times, and it takes a while to get used to that, and I haven't read it in a long time. It just goes on. 7 books of the Flades of Homer, Prince of Poets. Again, just going through. And this fold-out that I showed is, it says here, it's a third of the 3 pages of the manuscript of Sir Thomas More, said to be in the autograph of Shakespeare, said to be in the handwriting of Shakespeare. So that's that there. And on the little tissue paper, it does have a transcription of everything it said there, but it's very, very small. I need a magnifying glass to read that. And this is the chapter on Shakespeare. A book for boys and girls, or country rhymes for children. 1686, title page. So it just goes through. It's going to be a very, very fun read, especially I find it interesting of where and how the books were sold, as well as the prices. And that's where the Dibdin book that I had showed, I actually got it here, Bibliomania or Book Madness, he does something similar. He goes through, and this is that's from like 1809. He goes in his footnotes, and he talks about sales and how much prices were, how many books an eminent person had in their library. And, we're talking late 1700s, and there's people that had like 30,000 volumes, which that's pretty impressive. Impressive at any point in a personal library. The Third Village, a poem by Dr. Goldsmith, London. That's 1770, I believe. And there's that, and then it's interesting. It's got 2 volumes, 2 guineas net. So this cost, and this is 1927. That would have been quite expensive in 1927. So it was £2, 2 shillings. Volume 2 just continues on there, but it's Gray to Kipling. And Volume 2, title page. Starts out with Gray, an elegy wrote in Churchyard, London, and sold by M. Cooper in Peter Noster Row, 1750. Price 6pence, and that was the title page of Gray's elegy. Robert Burns, poems chiefly in Scottish dialect, and that's 1786, 1786. 1786. Sorry, it's in Roman numerals, so it takes a second to count them up. And again, more so here is Tales of Shakespeare by Charles Lamb, 1807, title page. And he's got here that a rarity apart, such works are romantic possessions. A rarity is added in the Tales from Shakespeare, Hodgkins, 1807. The first issue, an imprint, T. Davison printer, White Fairs, is placed on the verso of page 235, volume 1, and there are no advertisements in original boards, uncut. It is worth £150 to £250. In contemporary calf, £80 or so in the second issue and verso of page 235 is blank, and the text is followed by 2 leaves of advertisement. So it's we're back to bibliography here in a sense. This is detailed description of editions, but this is more so with the collector in mind. And it just goes here, a copy of Scenes of Clerical Life. 2 volumes may cost £15 to £20. Kingsley's chief novels are in the same market level between £5 and £10, and that was at the time. This is 1927, obviously. Tom Brown's School Days, 3 volumes, 1857, is rare and valuable. A real fine copy may cost £50. I would gladly pay £50 for that today. This was really cool. The Phantom Rickshaw and Other Eerie Tales by Rudyard Kipling. A.M. Wheeler and Company, Indian Railway Library. It's a wrapper of the first issue of the first edition. It's just fabulous. I think that would have been paper covered, because I think the Railway Library were paper-bound editions, but I might not be fully correct on that. But yeah, no, these are fabulous books. I haven't read them yet, obviously. I've just been perusing through, but I thought I'd just show a little more detail regarding them. And it's just cool that it appears that they were printed as a limited edition, 2,000 sets of the book. And the American edition as well was E.P. Dutton, so it doesn't tell me, though, that if there were 1,000 left here in the UK for the UK market and 1,000 in the American market. And they do have gilt covers, and I guess you would call them deckled edges, but this is real edging that they just haven't trimmed. And it's the same on the bottom, and you can see there the pages, and they haven't been trimmed. They trimmed the top, and they put gilt on it, and it's tarnished a little bit because of dust over time. Almost 100 years old. It's when is it? This 1927, so we're getting close to 100 years old for these, and they still have a dust jacket, a really nice dust jacket on each of them. Anyway, I guess I'll leave it there. I'm past 15 minutes. I was sort of hoping to do this in less than 10. But it's such a fascinating book. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks. Bye.